What's up? I'm on Last Chaos, all that good stuff. My day is going pretty good. Hopefully yours is. You can always leave a comment on that if you wish. Kings and their levels. Do you know how to distinguish the difference between their levels? There are kings among you. Can you even distinguish the ones that are kings among you? Who gets more criticism than any other? Regardless what they say and proof against another. That alone should prove their stature. Ones of old will get more than ones of new. Do you know why that happens to be true? Depending on the stature. For the ones of new, if it was that they did not have such things that stood in their way, they would be amongst the best upon that and a future day. Beyond what any could do or say. That is how you tell a king of old. One that could beat any, regardless if they are new or old. For there is only an appointed time to rule, is there not? You see that in your politics nowadays, do you not? What would happen if that was to be not? These kings of old I speak of, would they compete? Or would they have the lack of ability to, in truth, compete? There are kings among you, and you may not know, but the criticism towards them, these are the things that you might see, and for now it will show. Lack in comparison to what another could do are ones that criticize ones such as this, as I speak to you. Less in every single way that can ever be defined. Why would they try to criticize such ones if they did not see competition that they could find? But when you are only a competitor, there's a difference between the leader and the competitor. The leader does as it is that needs to be. The one that is the competitor criticizes the one that the standard they must see. Kings are among you, you may not know. What would you do if the proof was to show? Would you even notice one that was a king? After it was there allotted a time to be a king. Terms of service do not mean that they do not do their own service. For ones, regardless if one tries to stop them or not, they serve in one way or another in their office, regardless of ones that wish them to not. These are amongst the kings in your spot. Who in your reality is one that gets criticized the most in your spot? Is it one you see as a king, or one that is in your comparison to what you see is not? Kings of old are different than ones that are new. Some have less standard. Some, in truth, could not provide for you. Some, regardless upon what it is you say, could show the proof that they are a king amongst this day. Many are among you. Some are noticed, some are not. Some are in the front line, while others are not. Some are behind the scenes, while others are very, very clearly seen. Some have skills that are above all other, could not be compared by any, regardless of the other. Regardless what it is they might do or say, they could not be compared in any single way. Results and what it is they say. A difference between one that could compete and one that could not. One that, regardless, is a king upon this spot. Kings of old, ones that, even amongst ones that criticize, they do not know how old. For they were before, and they will be after. For old kings I speak of, they live before and they live after. In one way or another, regardless how it is that it is perceived. For once, these were great kings. Above and above reproach. When it was their time, they were above approach. And for some, it is still such as this. For in any way, they could not and will not compare to this. That aside, within you, is there a king or a queen within inside? Do not forget these. Listen, information upon what it is you wish they get. If it is that you wish to speak up, gotta be bold at these times that you wish to speak up. If you do not, your voice will never be heard. How can a king amongst men do what it is that you wish to, or wish the queen to do, if there is not a voice that is spoken by you? Are you scared that they will not listen? Do not forget, only by you does their crown glisten. If it is a king that does not listen to the ones that, technically speaking, they serve, how long do you think at that time they will serve? Regardless of forces that may be, that do not like these kinds of things to be. Even them must listen to kings such as this, for they have already been beaten, and they know the proof of this. Does that matter upon how they try to dispute? A king that does not listen to the people, how much do they have to dispute? One king of old that would listen to the people of old. The people of now. Does your king listen to you now? Is it one that should be, or is it something that you do not wish to see? Are they able to stand as it is that they need? Or are they incapable of such things? This is how you decide a king. How else would you like to have such things? There is a list among these things. But you can definitely tell one of old, for even ones of new criticize the king of old. If it is that they do not, it means they are either aligned with, or they are not within competition of. But one that gets criticized more than another. This is how you can tell the leader from the other. One that gets criticized more than any other is the leader. The competition is the other. Amongst kings of men. even amongst queens. Do not forget, a king cannot have a kingdom without his queen. In many cultures, you cannot be a king without having a queen first. But the kings of old, do you not think that they still have things to say? Even if it is past their term upon this day? Look among ones that speak more than others, ones that do things that are not capable by others. Do you think that is by coincidence? No such thing. There's only providence, my friend. Of course, many may laugh and scoff. But amongst the ones that know, they will plead you not to do such things as that. For they know the proof of the evidence of an old king at that. Many that may do such things as that will be beyond what it is that you know as the time as you know as that. You must think of such things as this. There are not ones that are uneducated and things such as that. Kings of old are known by ones that they were either under or they served. If they plead you to leave them alone, and they are beyond your age, it means he was a ruler or a king beyond your age. Beyond your comprehension of the beginning or the end. But yet, they are still with you. Many still try to guide as it is they do. Regardless if it is the words are taken in light by you, or seen as an insult or something you do not wish to do. But ones of old, do you wonder why it is they're still around? It is not that they would merely just go away, for they are older and wiser than you upon this day. Acted up by wisdom beyond what it is that is known by your wisdom. But of course, by your meaningless and unknowledgeable noise. What is it that you do with the truth of their voice? Beyond and will be beyond what it is that is your knowing. Even beyond and after what it is that is your knowing. Do you think a king of old would let one make a bad mistake, for it is not in their place to rule upon that day, but to help guide one that is to. For they already know, for many terms, or beyond what it is that is known you, they have already done upon what it is that is expected by you. Some have earned honors that no others will ever see. Beyond what it is that any other will ever see. Or be privileged to. King of old, a king at their levels. Are they above or below your current levels? Are they a one that, under any circumstance, they could provide? Regardless if it is that you felt your hope has died. Regardless if the hope in them was shown. And a king at this level, what kind of prowess could they show? Many among you may or may not see. Regardless if you know, there are kings among you. And when I say kings, ones that are in greater standing or stature than you. Ones that if you were to say it meant nothing, but as soon as they said it, it actually meant something. Ones may be criticized for what it is they say or do. The more the criticism, the more and greater king they were. For ones of new wish to criticize ones of old, trying to prove that they are better than the one that is of the old. But how much is it that they say that actually lines up with the new king of the day? Is it something close, is it not? Is it the mere standard upon the spot? Is it something that only an older generation might understand? One that had more prosperity, regardless of how it is you understand. Like, look at nowadays compared to the 80s or 90s. How many more are on unemployment compared to then? How many more do not have a job or the means to their end? The population did not change by much, but yet how many more? Is that hard to know? My generation particularly got a bad name. What is it they calling this nowadays? The Great Resignation? Almost every place I go, always short-handed, but yet more are on welfare, unemployment, and other things such as this nowadays. Hmm. Too bad, I guess. What, entitled to your feelings? And you wonder why you are among the ones that are the 98%. Yet you wish to be among the 2%? Hmm. Pity, I must say. Maybe one day you could possibly be a king. Or maybe not. I mean, unless you wish to be the king of the welfare spot. A king amongst ones that will not work to get what it is they think they must get without work. Do not think that will be much of a king, though. More of one that will not be listened to by any means. For you do not know how to provide or be a king. Of course, kings of old, depending on what kind of king they were of old, may have more issues than others. For you do not forget, their term has been served, above and beyond what it is that is to be. Do you think a current king wishes one that would be better than them, to be shown for the fact that they are better than them? You can see this without any prejudice. Just look at any king that was after another. What did they do to the one that was before them? You ever pay attention to your culture? Can you tell the difference between a new and an old king? One that maybe theirs would have been the real place to see, above and beyond what it is that you could ever comprehend. Are they criticized more than any other? Are they, in one way or another, humiliated in front of another? But the only question to really know what level of king they may have been, do they know upon what it is that these may have done? That is another question to ask. That is a very, very good question to ask. If it is that they themselves cannot see. How much of a higher level are they? They have earned it, have they not? A king above all other, not able to be criticized amongst their own eyes, for they have proven, even amongst their blindness in their eyes, they are a king that cannot be disputed. Regardless upon how one wishes to have been trying to dispute it. You gotta think that is a spot that had been earned. Otherwise, what would they see? What would be their current what they see, when there may be many that are less than them? Their current king of men, or even ones that came after. How much stronger are they compared to the ones that can currently be called they? Kings of old are still amongst you. Makes me wonder, are these kings of new be ones that will still be amongst you? Or will they be ones that are lost and forgot? For they have done nothing, for it is they will be forgot. Kings and their levels. Queens and theirs. Just because it was not a man does not mean that they were not a person of status. But depending on what kind of rewards they got for their service and status. How much do they have to say amongst what it is that happens in the midst of the other kings? Do they have less or more to say? Easy way to tell the level of that king or that queen, is it not? Regardless of the criticism, you must also think of something else in this spot. If it was that there was no criticism, it meant that there would be no competition. For ones that get more criticism means they are more than just competition. For if it was their time to serve, they would be number one, for they would not be criticized. Is that something to think about in this spot? Is there anyone that gets criticism more in what it is that you think is a place of status, compared to another that you would think would be a similar status? That one that gets criticized more. You ever wonder why it is they get criticized more? It's not too hard to understand. Amongst their status, to the others they are the highest that happens to stand. Otherwise there would be no need for such criticisms, for they would be below and no need of criticisms. Kings and their levels. It's very clear to see amongst all the chatter their levels. For ones that would not be higher than the one that gives the criticism, there would be no need for this or such criticism, because they would be below the one that gives it. Why else do you think that one happens to give it? To shows the fact that they are competition, or at least they are less than what it is they consider their competition. Otherwise, there would be no need, would there, to criticize someone for what it is they do or say? If you had higher stature, what would be the point upon doing that upon that day? Hmm? In truth, what would be the point in such things as that? Your status would be above that, would it not? Hmm. Makes me wonder upon this spot. You ever see one criticized, but you do not understand why? What is it they criticize and why? Have you ever thought to think of the records of old? Beyond what it is. Some laugh and scoff, not knowing upon the fact. The ones that encourage that are the ones in truth that are less. For the only reason to do such things as that is to try to make one less so they are equal to the one that they did that. Hmm? Does that make any sense to you? The next time someone makes fun of you, pay attention to how it is they are. More than likely, you are above them by far. People only make fun of someone when they wish to bring them down to their level. Did you ever notice that? Kings of old and their levels. Makes me wonder, do you know in truth what it is that is their levels? More than likely you do not. Though there are a few that are old and know such as what it is I speak. Of the old kings, that in technicality I speak. Even beyond that. These kings of the new, will they earn the respect of you? Will they make it into the place of these kings of old that have their levels, that still have their influence within their limit of their levels? Some king of old still have their part to play, maybe made fun of or criticized upon this day, but still play their active roles. For anything else, for them, there is not anything else that is known. Some king of olds just act on repulse. Don't even think about it. Just act upon natural reaction. What is that? Natural selection? You know what that rule technically means? For kings of old. For I'm sure these know what this means. Only the strongest survive. Other than that, you wither away and you die. You are forgotten, never thought about, for you were not strong enough to not be forgotten. Kings of old should know that term. For one such as this, in truth they live by that term. Maybe it is they wish to see something greater than what it is they see. Maybe they were one that was able to have greatness have been seen. Above and beyond what all other rest before and after could ever produce. For this attitude, prejudiced, they produce. Against himself, for it is. They do not know anything else. The only thing they know is being their best, and anyone else better stand back, for you will see amongst the greatest of kings, the ones that will cut down the lower level kings. The one that gets criticized the most. Why is it they get criticized the most? But what is it that they might have earned to not see if it is they don't? Might be a wise thing considering. Why would they not? Even amongst kings that are supposed higher than them, for they cannot make them, or have the ability to see the same as them. Does it show upon the fact they are stronger than them? Good thing to think about a king. Before you pay attention to the one they might criticize, you might want to think, were they once a great king? It's easy to tell if it is they have been one or not. Do they compare in their attitude at all or not? For a king of old that will not give up. Does that sound familiar to one of current that may have the same thing or not? Does that mean they do not have their place? Some have made it to status above what it is that any of these, well, the current kings that you currently see. There is, I'm sure, a specific way to tell. I will not get into specifics, for I already know upon how it is that you can tell. But that is information that is not my duty to say. But I'm sure there's a way, and you can tell amongst the greatest and the ones that are less. This is true with queens as well, by the way, or ladies of power. Ones that wear a crown just the same as almost equal power. Kings of old and their levels. Can you distinguish what it is that is the difference in their powers? The difference in upon what it is that is their stature, reputation, along with what it is that is their stature. Many different types of kings, too, by the way. Some that are by actions, some that are physical ones, ones that are not, ones that were great influencers, not necessarily a king in that spot. It'd be the difference, like, between Obama and Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber would be considered a king, but not to the same level as Obama at the current time, comparatively. Or Will Smith compared to Bill Gates. They're two different kings within their own realm. Or like Dolly Parton compared to Rachel Ray. Two different kinds of queens upon that day. Two different rings that they fight in. Just because it is not politics does not mean there is not a ring that is they fight in. Major influencer is still considered a king, is it not? Or a queen, depending on what it is that is their spot. But also, do not forget this as well. As far as certain things, if it is that there was a term of service that they served, if it is impossible because of the way that they are, for they do not do anything less. There are other ways and other places they will be, and other queens or kings spots they will earn. Just because it is upon what it is you see does not mean that there was not one before that you are still too young to have seen. I'm speaking of kings of old. Not these new ones that you happen to see and have known. These are above what most ever comprehend or know. Kings and their levels. Ones of this current era, will they hit among these levels? Will they be one that will be considered later a king of old? One because of their stature then, they are still considered, but in a different area, for they are relentless as far as what it is they do, regardless that is their area. Or will they be ones that are forgotten in history? A king below, one that cannot be forgotten in their history. Well, looks like I need to take an intermission. Be a great time for you to do so as well, if you need to. It'd be a good time to think of questions or... Sorry about that, I had to restart that. Well, it looks like I need to take an intermission. Be a great time for you to do so as well. Be a great time to think of comments and other things such as that, as seeing that, taking an intermission so you can think of them and all of that. I will address them as well after this intermission video. If you like the motivational poetry thing that I do, you're more than welcome to look up Gaming with a Knack, Inspirations of a Gamer on any music distributor, and you will find it. Do not worry for the things that does not concern you. For the ones that evil deeds they do, that happen to be in control and in your view, they will have issues when it comes to certain things. When it comes to the time that they wish to renew such things. Does not matter if it is that you understand upon what I speak. Do not worry, for ones notice what it is that you speak. Do not be scared to stand out, for nothing will change if it is you choose not to stand out. ones that are not for you. Do you honestly think they will be able to continue to do their job for you? It will be noticed. For surely, amongst forces that are to notice, just because you see it now does not mean it will be after the ones that decide what it is that will be. For many judges that you do not know or see determine upon who it is that can be above thee. If you make your voice heard, then for sure they will notice upon you make your voice heard. If you do not, then you might as well not say anything upon this spot, for you are not among the jury. You have no say, for it is you are not among the jury. Only one selected by the fact that they will say, approve with their actions along with what it is they say. Not for the meek, only the strong upon this day. But it does not mean you cannot be a king upon this day. Though, depending on what it is you do or say, many may not like upon what it is that you have to say. For there is corruption amongst this as well. But when it's noticed, they are not willing and able to dwell. Do not be scared to say upon what it is you think. Do not be scared. For if it is that you are, your voice will not carry that far. Neither will it be your actions do either. Do not fear such ones that make your life hard. Do you think if there are ones that do not support, they will get far? Enough in number. The proof of that is proven within the number. But if it is you do not raise upon what it is that opinion, how is it that kings among men will know such things? Just because they might look a certain way does not mean they are not a king upon that day. Just because their stature may not be as big as another does not mean that their word does not matter more than another. Easy way to tell who is a king amongst the men. Who is criticized more amongst these men? The higher the stature, the more the criticism. For the proof of their rank is within that. Otherwise, they would not try to do such things as that. For in the state of a king amongst men, why would you criticize one that is less? Do you get that? Your status does not always mean anything. If it is that you do not do what it is for you to keep, do not worry for ones that do not do as it is they need. For their status, they try to keep. It's been referenced in many different ways. Even things you see from day to day. Who is the one, for what it is they do or say, gets more flack than any other? Wish to see who is the highest among the kings, compared to the ones that are not? Easy to tell when it is you pay attention to such things as this, in this spot. For otherwise there would be no need for ones that are less. Why would it be this criticism they need? Ever think of such things? Sometimes they hide among you. Never even notice that they're right in front of you. Just because it is they do not have anything to say does not mean they are not a king or one that has stature upon this day. Some do it behind the scenes. Governing upon what it is in plain sight is seen. Worry not. Do not forget you do have a voice upon this spot. But if it is that you choose not to use it, do not complain, for it is you chose not to use it. If you roar with a loud sound, surely it will be heard, for it is loud. Never think that your opinion does not matter, for these kings amongst men, they pay attention to such matters. For it is part of their responsibility, is it not, to know upon what it is the ones they work for wish to have upon this spot? Do you think they will not listen to a roar that you put out? Do you not know what politics is about? And even beyond such things as this. For there are things even behind this. Powers that you may not see. That govern things that have to do with you and me. But if it is they do not know, how is it that what it is you wish to see, for what it is you wish to have been shown, can these kings amongst men know what it is you wish to see? Do not be scared upon the fact to speak upon what it is you wish to see. Okay, well, enough on these older kings I was speaking of. What about these newer ones? Can you tell the difference between what it is they stand and what an older one might stand? Can you tell a current from an old? Do we even know upon what it is, a king of what it is I speak of? Or a queen, in that matter? You think ones that control such forces do not notice what it is they are, such forces? Or it is, maybe, they wish for them to be? There's always someone else behind the scenes that happens to try or is able to pull the strings. That is, if it is they are that kind of king. Not always true, but good things to keep in mind. So these kings are ones that are to be. Can you tell the difference upon the ones that are old that you already see? Where do they stand and according to what the other does? You can tell the difference between what it is the other does. Kings and their levels, queens and theirs. Do you not know there are multiple levels to those stairs? Some that know and some that do not. Some may not even know they are a king upon this spot, or a queen in that matter. For not always is it their need to know such matters. Some are unaware. Some, even if they did, they would not care. They do amongst what it is that 2% happens to do. That is why, to the other 98%, they are considered a king to you. Some have to try, some do not. Some just do it naturally. Some have to give more effort upon this spot. Some are above approach. Some are not. Some prefer it a certain way, while others, they do not. Some have already been. Some will be. Some you may not even notice, but eventually you will see. And to explain above approach, meaning typical ways that you would try to approach, are above what it is that you would attempt for their standard, for you to merely attempt, are above what it is that you try. Any other, because of their nobility, your attempt will die. This is true for kings of new or kings of old. Many levels for both. regardless if they are one that is current or one that is before. For the newer, sometimes it is required certain things before they will open that door. For ones that happen to be a controlling force, you must be willing, or there is no open doors. But how do you tell the difference between one that is new and one that is old? Easy way to tell. One that is old has morals that is beyond one that is new. As if they are older and more knowledgeable, and from a different era than you. They would have to be, would they not? For that standard would be considered normal, and one that would be new. Not one that is predated and out-ages you. Like, I'll give you a small example, at least within what it is that changes that I have started to notice that have happened to begin, at least within my own perception. Well, of course, 365 days in a year is my perception. When I started this, it was Friday the 1st of September 2024. The 1st. I'm 39 years old. Just to give you perception. When I was about 4 years before, what it is that I have just mentioned a second ago, there was none speaking to me about what it is that they do now. Ones ask me, what is it that you are here for? I post my game videos, my friend. They ask me, what is it that I'm searching for? I'm searching for nothing. Never was. Never will be either. How long have you been on this? 2007. It's 2024 now. So in this amount of 4 years, one major change. All these girls think that I'm searching for something, and I'm not. Never was. I post my game videos to speak as it is that I do. And here's the funny part. According to what I see, the friend request is from you. I never once in that period of time, other than ones that I have seen in person, requested a friend request at this time from 2007 until now. So, your question, what is it that I'm searching for? According to me, nothing. But according to you, something. I see a game video with a character that has, in Latin, resistance above their head, or resilience in Latin, with on Satyr, a character that has black hair that goes along the side of her face, on both sides, with two pigtails in the back that are black, with little ties at the end, with a little nice little piece on the top. Little buttons right here. A crystal bow right here. And I speak motivational poetry, speaking about how it is that people will be better than what they are. Nothing more, nothing less. If you see anything other than that, according to what I see, you are seeing a lie. The outfit is a red, pink, and a grayish color. Gray around the hands and the elbow. Red to pink and a slight tan around the breast and torso area. So there was a big change in perceptive, or how it is, that is, my perception, within that 4-year amount of time. So, after I started posting my videos after a certain allotted amount of time, friend requests continued to come in. Of course, I do not know if they are wishing to talk to me about my game videos or motivational poetry. Speak to them, and long and behold, they are girls wishing to talk to me because I see myself as a man. I have a black gator cap upon the top of my head, a Corsair headset that, if you pay attention, will have multiple colors that show right here. And upon the other side, curly hair that is long to about right there. A red t-shirt. In fact, I recently went to my hairstylist at one point. They told me I should try something upon this point. For all these years before that, did not know that I had naturally curly hair. Did not know that there was a special way for me to care. Funniest part about it, I'm surprised I haven't got flack for it yet, but I've seen a few that have looked at me and probably wished to say something. But the hairstylist, after dealing with my hair, said, I know this may sound weird and odd coming from me, but you ever think of using a do-rag? The girl kind of blushed when it is that she said that. She said, because of your style is because why I say that. I'm like, oh, I already used the gator. Oh, okay, well, that's pretty close to that. Hmm, I wonder. The emblem that you see right down here, right below this. According to me, that is what you see. If you wish to have a small description of what it is I speak of, the guy that is on carrot, parrots, Pirates of the Caribbean. Taylor, that is what it is I look like. Very similar. I once had a nickname, the Three Musketeers, because I looked like the most recent release of the Three Musketeers. Just to describe what it is that I speak of. Do not know if it is your perception of what it is I speak of. Does not matter if it is or not. I figured I'd point that out, for if it is not, that's aside. So what is the difference according to what has been described in my sight? 4 years ago, there were none as far as these girls go. But all of a sudden, within the last year and a half, well, thousands have happened to add. In fact, yesterday, well, at least, what you would consider yesterday, I had about 8 to 10 friend requests. All girls. Every single one. All asking me the same question. What are you looking for? I don't recall advertising that I was looking for anything. I really don't. Or, how long have you been here? Well, I've been here since 2007. That's when my account was made. And either I've done music or I've done what it is I'm doing now, which is still related to that, but still. In fact, most of my videos, you hear bing, da-da-da-da-da. That's all you hear. At some point, you hear it. And most claim to live somewhere close, but more than likely they don't. I don't know why I'm talking about myself now, but it is what it is. But these kings of old that I was speaking of, do you think they will not listen to what it is you wish to see? As far as what it is you wish to be? Do you not know they cannot be a king without you and what it is you have to say? In truth, do you think they can stay in office for their maximum term if it is they're not willing to listen to you for any amount of their term? Could they do such a thing as this? Considering you are the one that decides this? You ever think of such things as this? You think ones that watch to ensure for these things they do not ensure? Just because it is that you do not see them does not mean, and the noise of everything else. There's not a king there just because you do not see them. There are some kings amongst these men that you will not see from the start or the end. Well, when I say that, I mean ones with major influence. Ones you know for a fact they have an influence. There are controlling factors behind that. I'm sure you, yourself, regardless if you wish to admit it, you know that. Do you think they get their funding from nowhere? Self-made is different than one that is not. Self-made can decide if these are able to be incorporated or not. Of course, they still have to be with one in what it is. Because otherwise, well, I'm sure you've already seen for what that result is. But do you think these ones do not listen to you? Do you think that they'll have the ability to be one behind the scenes even if they do not listen to you? They will not be for long. For their ability to get their funding, for it will be gone. Kings amongst men that you may not see. For ones amongst the ones that you actually see. They know that these are ones that are and will be levels amongst the men, kings above and below men. may stand out to you as an ordinary does not mean that they are always ordinary. It's similar to a TV show that I've recently watched. It's called Undercover Boss. A corporation leader goes undercover, tries to find out why that location is not performing, so they must go undercover. They look as an ordinary man, but they are a king. They look as if they are an ordinary, but they are the leader of that whole organization, for they are not ordinary. They go for a certain allotted amount of time. And then, at the end of whatever is their decided time, they reveal themselves for what it is that they are. Either reward or not for the ones that they have witnessed in that spot. Small example of what it is I speak of. You never know if your company boss could be working with you, do you? Simple question, might I ask. How many times, if such things happen, do this, they ask. Do not approach. Why would they ask you not to do such things? If it is within your company policy, you do such things. Do you think a company leader would not like to see his employees or hers for what it is that is and could be theirs? Do you think a leader of a company wishes to truthfully do that? Hmm. Maybe a few seconds you might wish to think about that. Do they not wish to see it the way that it is? Do you think they do not have possibility to see for what it is? Do you think that in truth these kings amongst men, or queens, only see you as a coin? Do you not get it? A true leader of such things would not see you as such things. Only one that is a fraction of what it is they should be will see that. Do not like the way that you are treated? Do you think they do not wish to see you better treated? Nowadays, there's multiple ways they can see it. Or do you forget? Right now, if you were at work, you know your boss of all your entire company can see everything you do just on this. Right here. You know that. You didn't like upon how it is you treated. At a specific time, you know exactly upon when it is you were treated. Tell them. You could even reference the camera or audio that would be close to prove the way you were treated. They have random access. If it is required or needed for them to have such access. Kings amongst men, queens as well. Do you not know that your companies wish to see you do well? Regardless if it is you think they do not. All you must do is speak up. Otherwise, they know not. But even beyond that, there are politicians and other things along with that. Do not like upon what it is that your governing bodies do. You realize that you are the one that decides if they are continuing able to do. Enough complaints by Whatever it is that is causing the issue, you might as well say goodbye. Not always true, though. There are a few exceptions to that. But I will not get into any of that. For that is not my job. But these kings amongst men that are to be, do you think that they do not pay attention to what it is you say you wish to see? Ones that have shown what it is that is they believe. These are the reasons why it is you see what it is you see. They are willing, you are not, and you wonder why it is you see upon what it is you see upon this spot. For the one that has more favor is proven upon the fact they have more favor. If you do not say, then they do not know. But for ones that do, then at points you wonder what it is they bring to you. What it is they do. Do you not get it? Because you say nothing, they bring to you what it is you currently see because you say nothing. If it is something that you do not wish to see, make sure to voice in whatever way you need to that that is something you do not wish to see. There are polls and other things such as this. There are other ways to contact and alert them of such things as this. Do not forget, they work for you. Otherwise, they would not be in office, for at that point no longer would they work for you.